Look how absolutely stunning these shades are. Just gorge. Hey guys, welcome back to the Clean Beauty Code. I'm so excited for this video because we're talking new makeup. We're talking new makeup that's on my face today. New lip stain, new concealer. We got some good stuff in this video today. I would love to know down below what new products you want me to review, videos you want me to film, whether it's a makeup look, whether it's a brand review, whether it's new products. Let me know down below. I'd love to hear from you guys. And yeah, I just want to jump into this video and get started. So if you're excited for this video and more videos like this, then please like and subscribe. And without further ado, let's get into this full face of new makeup. New makeup, let's jump right in. I'm really excited. So brows are already on, so we're going to start with the foundation. The foundation isn't new. We have a new concealer though, and I wanted you to be able to see how they kind of layer up. So we're going to go on with the Haus Labs foundation. I have the shade 330 medium cool in this, and I'm just going to take a little bit. I don't want too much on my skin today, just a little bit. And so that was about, it wasn't like a full pump. I would say it's about 3/4-ish of a pump, maybe even half a pump. And I'm just going to put it all over my face like this. And then I'm going to blend it out with this brush here. This is an Hourglass powder brush, and we're just going to blend it out. Foundation is blended. Now we're moving on to our new concealer. I was so excited when this came out. I ran. This is from RMS Beauty. This is their new concealer. It's their Hydra Concealer. What's the full name? The Revitalized Hydra Concealer. And I'm going to try to get like full swatches and stuff on the screen as well. But I was very excited to see this. I'm going to compare it to their Uncover Up Concealer. I got the shade ON14, I believe. Yeah, ON14, and it's a very good shade match for me if you want something that, if you're my complexion, if you want something that is still a little bit brightening but not over the top brightening, because the way it blends is just amazing. What I like to do with this concealer is let it sit for about 30 seconds. So I'm going to let it sit for 30 seconds, then blend it out with you, and then we're going to talk more about the concealer in general. It's that long enough. Now I'm going to blend it out with this brush here. This is my favorite brush right now. This is the F4 from Makeup by Mario. And we're just going to tap it out. Concealer is blended. What do you guys think of the coverage, of the color too? I feel like this is a really good color for me. It just is. When I have no makeup on, no base makeup on at all, it is such an incredible shade. It just looks so good. I love this shade match. Anyways, now this is meant to be a medium coverage concealer, which I do feel like it is. And it layers up really nicely. So if I need a little bit more coverage, maybe we'll do a little bit more just so you can see how it layers up. It layers up really nicely. So if I need a touch more coverage, let's go here. My dog woke me up in the middle of the night last night because she had to get sick, like she had to throw up, and you know that noise dog makes that could wake me from the dead, and I couldn't go back to sleep afterwards. I don't know why. So we have some serious bags, so a little extra coverage will be great. I'm not going to let this sit. I want you to see kind of how it layers up, but it layers up really beautifully with itself. It also layers really beautifully with other concealers. I really like this. It has really nice coverage. I'm gonna get a squash. I'm gonna get a swatch on the screen for you. It has beautiful coverage, and it has more of a kind of satin finish, and it's meant to not crease. And I want you to see what it looks like without being set first, but we do have a powder, so we're gonna have to set it. But I'm gonna let you see what it kind of looks like as my face moves and all of that, because I do get creasing under my eyes, not with this concealer, but just in general. So I want you to see before we go on with a powder. So what we're going to do now is I do want to talk about it comparably to the RMS Uncover Up Concealer. Now, the Uncover Up Concealer, if you don't know, is RMS's kind of first concealer, and it's in a pot. And this one, I'm going to do some swatching on the screen here for you, is different. It has more of a little bit, it's a lighter coverage product, at least in my opinion. I also find that I had a really hard time finding a good shade match in the Uncover Up concealer. So this is the shade 33. I would say that that's a really good shade match, but it took me a little bit to find it. Whereas the RMS, their Hydra Concealer, there's so many shades that I feel like it'll be easier for people to find, but I just want you guys to see kind of the difference between the two here. So this right here, I hope it's getting, yeah, here. This right here is the new RMS Hydra Concealer, and this is the Uncover Up Concealer. I want you guys to just see what's going on. It's very pretty as a concealer, both of them. They're just, you can tell they are just different. So the Hydra Concealer is a little bit thicker, in my opinion, but the Uncover Up one is very, very thin. And so you get more coverage out of the Hydra Concealer. I think that if you enjoy the Uncover Up Concealer, but you want something with a little bit more oomph, and you want something with more shade options, then the Hydra Concealer is definitely the way to go if you're looking for something that just does a little bit more. I don't find that it creases under my eyes. If I get next to a, let's do this, humbling mirror, and I get really close, it literally looks like nothing under the eyes when I'm wearing it with no makeup on my skin, and I'm just having this kind of under my eyes. First of all, the shade match is great, so it blends really nicely into kind of my natural complexion on my face, but it also doesn't look makeup-y. I don't know how to explain it. Looks very natural, but it gives you great medium coverage. I'm a very big fan of that concealer, and I have been grabbing that on days that I'm not testing the concealer. I've been grabbing it a ton. So I feel like that's a very good testament, because I feel like I'm kind of picky about what concealers are kind of at the ones I'm grabbing every day, and that one I have been grabbing. Now what we're going to do is we're going to go on with bronzer. I'm going to go on with the Westman Atelier, their contour stick in the shade Truffle. It's Truffle, right? I'm not making that up. No, yeah, Truffle. I don't know why. I feel like I gaslight myself into what I think the names are, so now I'm always checking. I'm going to dip in with this brush here, and we're just going to kind of build up a little bit of bronziness. And I'm going to pull it down my nose just for a little bit of bronze on my nose. Help me pretend was just at the beach, which I wasn't. I'm not a big sand person. Do you guys like the beach, or are you more of a pool type person? I enjoy the beach, but not for very long. After a while, I'm like, okay, let's wrap this up. And also, I attract sand. I feel like it's everywhere. Anyways, so that is the bronzer on. Now what I want to do is I still want to let the under eyes sit for a while so you can see what it looks like and when my face is moving. So we're actually going to move on to the eyes before we move on to our new blush. So I'm going to take that same bronzer that we used, and I'm going to actually pull it all over my lid. Now I want to take a little bit of the About Face, their eyeshadow stick in the shade, what is it, Lotus Leaf? Yeah, Lotus Leaf, and I just want to put a little bit right here in the corner. Not a lot, just a touch. I love an inner corner highlight. Now we're going to move on to our new blush. I'm very excited about these. So this is from About Face. This is their Pigment Fluid Blush. Wait, I made that up. Oh no, it's right. Pigmented Fluid Blush. And I have two shades here. This one is the shade In the Dust, and this one is the shade Grand Prix. And I was so excited. They actually sent me these. I'm going to make sure to get some up-close swatches for you guys. They are so, so pretty. And a very little bit of this, you'll see when I blend it out on my cheeks, goes a long way. I just want you to see them kind of side by side, the shades here. Look how absolutely stunning these shades are. Just gorge. I think I'm actually going to go on with this one here, which is In the Dust. And I like to put it on my back of on the back of my hand, but I want you to see it both ways. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do just two little dots on this cheek directly on the face. And then I'm going to take this brush here, the bigger side of it, and I'm gonna blend it out. Look how pretty that is. And it really doesn't, like, again, when you get close to, oh, dropping things left and right. When you get close to a humbling mirror, it doesn't look like anything in a good way. Now I'm going to take this side of the brush that I used to kind of blend out my concealer, and I'm just going to tap around the edges just so it melts into the skin really seamlessly. Now what I want to do on this side is I actually want to take some of the blush on the back of my hand, not too much because it's very pigmented, and such a little bit of this goes a long way. And I'm going to kind of blend it out like this on the back of my hand, and I'm going to actually, same brush, because I feel like that way you'll be able to see kind of how it blends with the same kind of brush. Dip in, and then I'm going to place it directly on my cheeks. Just look how pretty that shade is, and it really, I'm taking such a little bit on the brush because it is a very pigmented product. Are blended. What do you guys think of both sides? How do you like it? I actually like how it blends on both sides. I'm going to do the same thing I did on the other side just to make it fair. I do like, oh geez, there we go. I had a random hair on my face. I do really like the way that it blends on both, like both sides, the way it blends out, but my preference is a little bit on the back of my hand, then dip in, and this is how much I have left. So a very little bit of it goes a long way, and you get such a beautiful flush. Now what I want to do is I do want to set my under eye, and we're going to set it with the Amicole, where is it, setting powder, because we do have a kind of finishing powder. And you gotta set for, well, I mean, you can do whatever you want. But what I like to do is I like to set first before using a finishing powder. I feel like that makes the biggest kind of difference. So I'm going to make sure to set mainly my T-zone because that's where I get the oiliest. I have an oily T-zone. And then also set a little bit, not a lot. So just this amount, oh, that's a lot actually. Get it all in the brush so that it's not that much. And then I'm just gonna set my under eyes. You know what? I'm going to add a little bit of what was left on this brush on my nose to just create the flush look. What do you guys think of the blush? I really, really like these. You know what? Since I didn't use this, I will, the shade, I'm going to put a little bit on the back of my hand and just kind of blend it out so you can kind of see what the actual shade is in case you're interested. It's a very pretty shade. Look at that. Look how pretty that is. This shade specifically, I mean, this is a great high summer shade, like natural kind of sunburnt, sun-kissed kind of look. But I feel like in fall, this shade specifically is going to be everything. It's so, so pretty. Again, let me just double check. It's Grand Prix. Yeah, it's Grand Prix. And I really, really enjoy it. It's nice. It looks so natural when you're not wearing makeup underneath it. I do find that I need to... moving my legs like a crazy person. I do find that I need to set this so that it is still on by the end of the day. I do feel like when I don't set it with a powder blush or even just setting spray or something, I do find that by the end of the day, it's mostly faded off my face, which is kind of to be expected with a liquid or a cream. They don't last as long as powders. So I do generally like to, again, set it with something, and I usually will go with something like this. This is the Westman Atelier Their Baby Cheeks Powder Blush. So I feel like I'm going to do that just so you can see how it wears with the powder blush on top. I'm going to take this brush here. It's the other side of the brush that we use to blend our foundation with, and I'm going to tap into this shade here. In this is the Suede and Sable, the powder blush duo from Westman Atelier. I'm going to dip in. These are pigmented, even though it seems like, oh, maybe not, so I'm going to take some off. And then we're just going to kind of set the cheeks. I just love that combination. It is so, so pretty. Now what we're going to do is we set our under eyes with setting powder, and we have a finishing powder. So we're going to go on with the finishing powder now, and it is from LYS Beauty. I actually ordered one of these and then they sent me two, which is great because we have a bunch of shades that I'm going to make sure to swatch for you. So we have the shade Harmony here, which I believe is the middle shade of the shades I have. It's very pretty. And then we have the shade, I believe it's Courage. Yeah, Courage, which is the darkest of the shades that I got. And this is so pretty for bronzer and kind of, at least for me, this is a good going over the kind of the bronzer area. The shade Harmony is good for just kind of all over the face. And then I also have one of the lighter shades, not the lightest. This is the shade Motivate. It is so, so pretty. I love these like types of products like this. I just love because I feel like, I don't know, I'm sinking into the chair. Products like this, I feel like just really make makeup, especially if you're doing event makeup or even for weddings or something like that. Products like this really just make everything look really nice. Now, I was hoping that this would be very similar to the ambient lighting powders from Hourglass. I have a few here, and I find them to be a little bit different, but they are similar, but they are more pigmented, in my opinion, than the Hourglass ones, which is why they kind of are not quite a perfect dupe. But so I have the powder, one of them here. I have minis because I don't have to use that much of these products. So this is the shade Dim Light. And I'm going to make sure to kind of do a side-by-side comparison. What I'm going to do is I'm actually going to take this shade here, which is the shade Motivate. This is their light shade. I believe there's one more lighter than this, I believe. I could be wrong. And I'm going to take a little bit on this brush here. And I'm going to then just, I don't want too much on the brush. I want to get it kind of in there, and I'm going to set my under eyes with this, or place it on my under eyes. What do you guys think of just the shade and all that? It definitely, you can see how it's pigmented, that it really does not alter in a bad way, but it does add some pigmentation to the under eye. So you can see how this side is now a little bit darker than this side. And that doesn't bother me, but that might bother some. Whereas with the Hourglass, their ambient lighting powders, they're less pigmented, so they might brighten a little bit or maybe add just a touch of like cool tone or warm tone to something, but they don't completely transform kind of the brightness or fully depth, I guess, of the shade, if that makes sense. You can see that it does have some pigmentation to it. What I want to do is I want to take this brush here. I just took off the blush that might have remained, dip in to the LYS powder. Again, this is the shade Courage that I'm about to use. I'm going to just use it around my face to kind of place it on top of the bronzer that I do have down. So I'm going to take a little bit of this on a brush and just put it on my lid so you can see, and then blend the edge with my finger. I always do that when I apply something to my eye. I feel like blending with my finger is just the way. So you can see it's definitely pigmented and it definitely deposits color, which I don't think that's necessarily going to be for everyone, but I do actually enjoy it when I'm using it kind of all over my face, but also on my eye. But again, the pigmentation might be a little bit much for people. And I'm really happy with how that is looking. Now what I want to do is I do want to do some swatches for you guys of the ambient lighting powders next to the LYS powders, just so you can kind of see. So this is the shade Dim Light. This is definitely, I feel like, their most popular, the Hourglass powders. So this is the shade Dim Light here. I mean, it definitely does have pigment, but I feel like it's not quite as pigmented in tone. Even their bronzer one, which I don't know where that is for me. I have one that's more of a bronzer shade, and even those are more of kind of a dusting, but it's not anything super, at least on me, it's not super, super pigmented. And then this is the shade, is it Diffused Light? Yeah, Diffused Light. So we have Diffused Light here, which is light on me, and then this is the shade Dim Light. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the first one here, which is the shade Motivate. This is their light shade. And I'm going to swatch it next to Diffused Light so you can see. I'm gonna take Harmony. Is it Harmony? Yeah, it is. Just making stuff up in my mind, and I'm gonna swatch it next to it as well, so you can see. They're very pigmented. I'm hoping that it's coming across on camera so you can see. I'll do up close swatches as well of just the LYS Beauty one. Actually, no, maybe I'll do of everything. And it'll be in the same order that I'm talking about now. And then we have the shade Courage, which is this shade here. But they're more skin tone shades, if that makes sense. Whereas I feel like the Hourglass ambient lighting ones aren't quite as skin tone in shade, so they don't affect as much the product you put down. But they do have that quality that the ambient lighting powders have, where they do, if you're wearing a blush or something like that. I didn't really use it that much up here. I'm going to take this brush here and just show you. They do kind of tone down the difference of the blush versus the under eyes, if that makes sense. And this is the shade Harmony. And I'm going to just right here, just so you can see, it kind of just you see how it kind of toned down the difference there? So it does do that, which the ambient lighting powders are just, they're the best for doing that, kind of just making everything blend a little bit nicer into the skin. What I will say is the ambient lighting powders, they have kind of more that quality where if you are kind of touching up with them, they kind of almost give your under eyes specifically, but also around the face, almost bring life back into it. Whereas I feel like the LYS Beauty powders, they still bring life, but it's not the same because, again, they're more of a skin tone product, and I do feel like they affect the tone of what's underneath it a little bit more than the Hourglass powders. But I really do enjoy the LYS Beauty ones, and if you're looking for something that is kind of similar to the Hourglass ones, but you want something more skin tone-esque, then the LYS Beauty ones are great. They're really similar. They feel really similar. I would say that the Hourglass ones are a touch softer. Not softer. They're a touch more finely milled. Just a little bit. Not by a lot, but just a little bit softer, I guess is the right word. The word I used was correct. Now we have a new mascara to try. The Kosas Soul Gazer. I was right the first time. The Soul Gazer Mascara. I was very excited to see that they came out with a new one because their old mascara, which I don't believe they sell anymore, the one in the red packaging, did not agree with my under eyes. And I do believe it's because it had avocado oil in it. I could be incorrect there, though. But I do believe it had avocado oil. And in general, avocado oil on my under eye area just, it doesn't always agree. And I was excited also because it has a plastic one. So this mascara is meant to be a lengthening mascara. It's also supposed to be really good for your lashes, which you got to use a mascara for a really long time to see if something is kind of working for your lashes. It's kind of a lash serum-esque product. So I can't really speak to that. However, I can speak to the fact that I don't have the same running issue that I did with the original Kosas mascara. And I was very excited to see that it had a plastic one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do one side first and then the other. So I'm going to do 2 coats on this side first. I'm just going to get my hair. And then we'll kind of talk about it. And then I'll do the other side. So let's do this. All right, mascara's on. So this side has 2 coats. Now this mascara is meant to be something that doesn't clump. And what I will say is I do find that it clumps a little bit, but not clumps in a way where it almost feel, you know how sometimes when something clumps, it feels like there's a lot of product. It almost just fuses the lashes together, not in a bad way, when you first get the mascara. When I first got it, I wasn't thrilled with the way that my lashes looked. The more I used it, which I feel like is with a lot of mascaras, I liked it because it almost like, I don't know if it dried out or what, but that after a couple of weeks of using it, I did feel like, was it weeks? Either way, after a little bit of using it, I did feel like I enjoyed it more, but this is what it looks like. 2 coats. I'm going to do this side now. All right, 2 coats on this side are on. Now I feel like you can tell, or at least I can tell in person, it almost like fuses my lashes together. And it's very much more noticeable on this side because I do have like an area where I'm missing like 2 lashes. So I feel like it makes it a lot more obvious when you're kind of going through like a lash phase, which I am. I feel like every week I'm like, oh, I'm going through a lash phase. I am. But I feel like you can tell that it almost like grabs everything. It's better than it was. And I definitely like it a lot more now. When I first tried it, I was like, oh, okay, it's fine. And it didn't clump to the point where it made my lashes look thick or anything, but it almost just, everything's just like one lash. I feel like 5 lashes are in 1 lash, which some people might love. It's not my favorite, but it's better than when I get like aggressive clumping, but it's not my favorite mascara. It is a nice mascara, but I feel like it really depends on what you like. Now with this mascara, I don't have any running, crumbling, anything like that, which is really nice. But I do feel like it almost, I mean, you have to let me know what you think of the way it's making my lashes look. It does kind of just, I mean, I guess clump is the right word, but to me, it doesn't really look quite like clumping. It just looks like collecting all the lashes together. But it's a very comfortable wear mascara, and what I will say is I really need to make sure I'm diligently removing this one, because when I don't, I feel like a lot of times the next day I'll have a little bit of mascara left. So I really need to make sure I'm doing a good job removing it, because she holds on to your lashes. Not in a bad way, but it's just something to know. I'm gonna move on to our new lip product. I was very excited to get my hands on this. So this is from the brand Violette, and this is their lip stain. I was nervous because in general, I have a bunch of products from Violette that maybe I'll do like a dedicated video to the brand, but I was nervous because I feel like a lot of her products, and I don't know if you know, the founder of this is a French makeup artist. High contrast looks so incredible on her and on me. I need more of like a medium to high, not full high on contrast on me, like works. High contrast just looks a little too intense on me, but on her it looks incredible. So I was nervous about the lip stains. Now I got the shade, I can't really read the shade, Dahlia or something. I believe it's Dahlia. It is their more berry shade, and I was nervous because sometimes, you know, you never know with lip stains like how intense it's gonna look or anything, but this, I love this, you guys. So I'll just use this. This is stunning. Let me do a swatch on the back of my hand. Look how pretty that shade is. And what's good about this is it leaves a stain, but it doesn't leave a stain that is this like super intense color, which is really nice, because sometimes lip stains, it's just, why are we fighting for our lives here? This formula reminds me so much of the Kulfi lip stain, which I love. If you don't know, I love that lip stain. And it reminds me so much of it. And I love that. Oh my gosh, why am I sitting like a crazy person? Anyways, I'm gonna apply this right now, and then I'll put a lip liner on with it just so you can kind of see how it layers up. But it is very comfortable and it is very hydrating, which is very rare for a lip stain, because lip stains a lot of the time are drying. That is, I just want you to see the difference. I look crazy to see the difference that it makes on the lips. It's very hydrating. It's one that you can apply over and over again, like the Kulfi one, but it does leave a nice stain. But it is a stain that isn't so intense, because sometimes they do a little too much or a little too pink or a little too red or orange based once they kind of fade. This is the shade without any liner or anything like that. I really enjoy this. This reminds me so much of the Kofi one, even with the type of stain it leaves, and also with how comfortable it is, because stains in general just dry my lips up so much. I want you to see kind of on the back of my hand. Can you see? I just removed it right here where the stain was. It does leave a nice like light wash of color. It isn't a super intense one, which I really enjoy. And yeah, now what I want to do is I want to take this lip liner from Jones Road Beauty in the shade Cognac. I believe it's Cognac, right? Yeah, Cognac. And I'm going to just do a little bit of, on the outside, just a little bit of lip liner. And yeah, that is kind of my full face of new makeup. What do you guys think? What are products that impressed you the most? For me, the products that impressed me the most were the RMS Their Concealer. I'm in love with this. And then also the Violette Their Lip Stain, because finding a lip stain that doesn't dry my lips out and still feels comfortable throughout the day and still leaves a stain, but I don't feel like the stain is so intense that it's like, oh no. Tight Vibes is really rare because a lot of, and the shade that it leaves doesn't terrify me, because a lot of the time stains, the shade that they leave behind is not my favorite. I really, really like the stain that this leaves behind. The shade is really pretty, and it's one that in fall, you bet your bottom dollar, slapping her on my face. I love this. And I also enjoyed the other products. The one that maybe I didn't really enjoy that much, but is still a nice product, is the Kosas mascara. There are other mascaras out there for me that don't kind of make my lashes kind of stick together as much. And they give me the look I want more than this mascara. I do think there are people that will enjoy this. This one just is not my favorite mascara. And then the About Face, their cheek fluids, or what is it, pigmented fluid blush. I really enjoy these. Again, make sure to set them if you are wearing them, because I find that by the end of the day, they're pretty much gone. If I don't set them with a setting spray or a blush, or both together if you want them, you know, it's a super long day and you're wearing that blush, but it's really, really pretty. And these two products specifically are incredible for no makeup days, especially if you want a concealer that gives you nice medium coverage but really doesn't look like much on the skin and also doesn't crease. This one is great. And the LYS Beauty powders, they're really nice, and I really enjoy them. They're not quite the Hourglass ambient lighting powders, which I'm not saying that's what they were trying to recreate or anything like that, but they're just more pigmented. So that is something to be aware of when you're picking your shades, because I feel like for under the eyes, a lot of people will want something more on the brightening side. So go for a brighter shade if that's what you're looking, or a lighter shade if that's what you're looking for. And yeah, that is it for my full face of new makeup. Let me know down below what products you want me to test. I've gotten a couple DMs and a couple comments on the new Live Tinted Their stick foundation that they came out with. Don't worry, that video is coming. I have tested her. I have thoughts. That video is coming. But let me know other products that you want me to review. Thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Bye, guys.